Hello everyone, and welcome back to this Hand of Unity Let's Play series of Temtem. I'm your host Bobby, but before we get started I just wanted to say a huge thank you to all of you who watched our previous video, and an even bigger thank you to those of you who liked the video and left such lovely comments. The first video was actually my first ever YouTube video, and whilst I'm still learning, I've learnt a lot over these last few days, and I remain confident that each episode from here on will improve in terms of content and quality. So again, those of you watching this video, please do leave a like if you like the video. If you dislike it, please do leave a comment so I can try and fix any issues for future videos. We've got lots planned for this Let's Play series. In this episode you will notice pop-up cards in the bottom right of the screen during battles indicating the moves that the Temtem is weak against. Hopefully you'll find these informative and not annoying. In future videos we will also include Temtem development news, we'll do some battles with other members of the guild, plus some special content that's still in development, so keep watching for that. So without further ado, let's carry on with some Temtem! So when we left off, we'd showed you around the game a little bit, explained how it's very similar to Pokemon. We've captured our first couple of Temtems there for our squad. So yeah, we're going to carry on now and battle some more trainers and progress along with the storyline. We'll get to the Temtem Center over here, and then we'll probably talk about the stats and how they work. So let's go over here. And again, I do love how the game looks. You know, people running around with their Temtems. Excellent. Right, so we've got a Paro and a Tartaru, Naris's favourite. So we've already got two Paros, so we don't need another one. So we can just take that one out, and then that will leave us to be able to just double team this Tartaru here and hopefully capture him. Okay, right, so the Tartarus are a normal type. They're going to be really weak against mental types such as Hauchik. So if you've got a Hauchik starter, bear that in mind, that you might not want to use your mental abilities against the Tartaru, especially if you're trying to capture it. So we will do that, and I don't want to kill it, especially we're a couple of levels above it, so I'll go easy on it. There we go, so I'm glad I did that. So it's still got a little bit more HP than I normally like the Temtem to have when I capture it. But I think in this particular case we will chance our luck. Damn it. Okay, let's try again. Hey. Good. So let's look at his stats. So obviously, like we said, Tartaru was a neutral normal type. Now, based on what we've seen so far, the Tartaru seems to be quite a tanky type of Temtem. So what we would really like to see in the stats is high HP, high stamina, good defensive stats. This one seems to be completely the opposite. Obviously relatively low HP, low stamina, speed's not even great, but high attack and high special attack, which is I mean, it's good to have an attacking Temtem of any kind really, but the Tartaru's main qualities seem to be tanking, so right. I mean, we'll keep him for now. See how we go. We need to remember to pick that up as well. So this is where we encounter our first NPC battle. Peppy the Fishmonger. Somebody was after him. And there's a girl at the starter area that wants to find him. There we go, yeah. Okay. Paro and Pigapick. So both those are wind types. So again, the wind types are weak against electric, which we don't have yet. You will get electric types quite soon. I just think they're a bit further along in the map, but you will encounter these pretty soon. So we'll take these out as soon as we can. He's gone. Okay. Another thing to bear in mind as well, the XP that you get from these NPC battles are considerably higher than what you will get if you're finding Temtems in the wild. So bear that in mind when you're going into your NPC battles, that you start at 2 are obviously going to get the most XP. If you then bring other Temtems in as well, you're only going to get a set total of XP per Temtem that you defeat. So it's then going to be shared among all of the ones that have been involved in that battle, even if they've just been in there and immediately switched out. So if you want to maximize the XP that you get for the Temtems, and you're looking to level 2 particular ones, make sure those 2 are always in the starting 2 of your squad. That way that you'll always get the maximum amount of XP. So again, when we're doing these, the circles are white because they're 1 times damage. We're not using any electric attacks, which are good against these. But as you can see there, even Crystal, it didn't do double damage or anything, but it still did considerable damage because of the amount of damage the attack does, plus the level does have a big impact as well. So Two Eyes got a new ability, Shrill Voice, which is actually one of my favourites. It's got a really cool animation, and it's got a nice little ability as well, that it'll attack 2 Temtems at the same time. But if you remember from our last video, it's a 2-turn ability. So on the first turn of a Temtem battle, we won't be able to use this. This will only be available on the second turn. So as you level up, you will get more abilities for your Temtems that will be picked up at certain levels. Now, those levels, those skills rather, can be brought in and swapped out for other ones. So at some point, when you've got all 4 abilities slots taken, you'll get the option to bring in another one and swap it with one of your current 4. That will then go into kind of like a holding pen, and at any time in the game you can just swap and change that around. So don't feel like you've made a mistake and you'll lose it forever. You won't. You'll be able to swap it in. Okay, so we've earned 43 Pansons. So Pansons are the currency in this game. Basically like your gold, credits, whatever you want to call them. So we can continue on now. Temtems don't look damaged that much. We've got another battle coming up here. Again, just double check after each battle that your Temtems are healed up, because the NPC battles do come quite thick and fast and unavoidable as well, so it's just worth bearing that in mind. If you do lose a battle and lose all your Temtems, you do get taken back to the nearest Temtem centre or last checkpoint, but you do lose quite a lot of money. So it's worth, if you can, not dying. See, so there, so we can fight along a friend. So that would be really great, actually. Especially with the starters, then you'll be able to choose potentially like a crystal starter, and then your friend could choose the Hauchik, and then that'd just be a great combination. See, so here, so the Windblade, even though Tartaru is a normal type, Peck is a 24 damage ability. Windblade is a 40 damage ability, so we can use that. It's only going to do 1 times damage, but you can see 1 times damage, even that is still pretty good. Just something else to point out as well is you notice these little cards here against your enemy and also your own. So if the card is kind of like a dark colour, it means that the opponent has 1 available Temtem that they've got to use. If it's greyed out, it means that you've already defeated that Temtem. Same for yourself. If they defeat one of yours, that'll show grey, and so on. So we'll use a glass blade and a wind blade. I'll save Shrill Voice for another time when we could potentially utilise it more. Some more money. Okay, so we'll go along here now, and we're going to pick that box up that we saw earlier. Revive. So the revives are great, actually. They will come in handy later on, especially during the dojo battles. So if one of the Temtems defeated in battle, we'll be able to revive it at any time. The thing to note, though, if you're using it in a battle, it's going to take 1 Temtem turn to revive that. So worth bearing that in mind. If you're down to your last Temtem, very little health, that will use a turn up. Ooh, great. 2 new Temtems that we haven't got yet. So the Kaku is a nature type, pretty much grass type. It does have some toxic attacks as well, which are really useful against water and nature types. So we will try and capture these if we can. So I think 1 on him, and Swali is also a nature type, so we want to try and capture him if we can. And essentially what we want to do, again, try and get the health down to about, maybe a quarter, something like that would be about right. Sometimes you have to play kind of like the long game to try and get them down to the health that's about right. See, now we're in a bit of a predicament because I think if we do any more damage against Kaku, he will die, and we don't want that. So let's thinking if we skip a turn there. So we could use. We'll try Peck on Swali. Get it. That's perfect. And I do heavily recommend people going for Swali. Doesn't look like much, but when he evolves, he does evolve into Lowly, which is basically a butterfly. Very worth having in your squad, especially near the start area. Okay, so we are now going to try and capture Swally. And do we risk it with Kaku? You know what, I'm not going to risk it because his stamina's pretty low anyway. I reckon within the next 2 turns he's going to run out of stamina. He's going to damage himself, which will then bring the health down to probably about here, I would have thought, and then he'll be primed to catch anyway. So we'll skip a turn there. E. So there's Swally. Those stats aren't great. Attack's good. Not great. I'll be honest, I had hoped for better. Okay, so we are again going to skip a turn and skip a turn. Right, so I reckon on Kaku's next turn he's going to damage himself. Okay, skip a turn, skip a turn. There we go. Oh, didn't go down as much as I would have thought. So this next one's going to be... maybe this time? There we go. That's perfect. Right. Okay, so we will now use Tem card and skip a turn. On. Yes! Oh, we are not getting lucky today with these stats. I mean, the HP's okay. Stamina's terrible. Attack's terrible. Oh. That's not great. And our Temtem are getting pretty battered up here, so what I'm going to do is take this opportunity to head back to our home, get some heals, so that we're not using too many of the bombs. I'm going to try and save them if we can. I'm having a great time. There we go. So they're healed now. Looks like Crystal and 2-Eye are going to be leveling up soon, which is good. So we'll head back round here. Okay, so we're basically going to need to head up here. And there we go, so we're out of that bit there. And we'll try and capture something here, I think. Paro. So obviously we've got plenty of Paros at the moment. In fact, I don't really think there's many other Temtems that we can capture in this starter area. We've caught Paro, we've caught Tartaru, and we've caught Swally. I don't think there's any others that I can remember. Got Kaku as well. Yeah, I think we've caught them all. Obviously the stats on them could be better, but right, So we will now get the opportunity to use Two Eyes' special ability, which is called Shrill Voice. So if we click on that, again it's a 2-turn move. If you hover over either of the opposing Temtems, you'll see that it highlights both of them. So this is going to do damage to both Temtems at the same time. This is a really cool animation as well. There we go. And they leveled up, which is good. Okay, so we'll pick this box up. Vital Apple. So that's basically a heal. So I think you might have remembered me saying in the last series that some boxes are in areas which you can't get to. So we're going to need climbing gear to get to these boxes here. Now, I'm pretty sure that the climbing gear isn't in this alpha version of the game yet. So I don't know. I don't think those are going to be possible to get to. Okay, hello Sarah. And she's Lara. And together we are Wild Stallions. Lethal twins. Okay. Yeah, whatever, let's fight. Okay, so we are up against Swali and Fomu. So Swali we've already caught and we know to be a nature type. Fomu is a water type. So the nature type, as we know, are weak against fire and toxic attacks. The Fomu is weak against nature and electric and toxic. So if I remember rightly, we have I think we have some in the thing, so let's see what we can do here. So I think Swali, if we bring him out, I mean, I know Crystal would have been able to take these on, no problem. I was thinking our Swali might be so low level here. Damn it. Yeah. Unfortunately, our Swali's too low level, hasn't got any of the good abilities yet. So, you know what, we'll just cut our losses and bring Crystal straight back. Swali's going to get a little bit of XP for this anyway, so that's going to help us to level him up. Oof. So yeah, so that did a lot of damage there against Crystal. Saipat. So Saipat is also a water type. Okay, so because we used Shrill Voice in the last turn, it's going to take another turn now to charge back up again. So we will use... this is something else to point out as well. So obviously we've already used ability on Fomu. It's probably going to take that out. But if you want to be double certain that it's going to take it out, what you can do is choose your attack on the one that you think is going to get taken out anyway. If it doesn't get taken out, your attack will land on this one. If it's already taken out, it will automatically revert to the other, which is nice. So you can sort of always make sure. Okay, so obviously 2i took out Fomu. Crystal was going to be attacking Fomu, but instead, as it wasn't there, it attacked the other one. So okay, so we've got again Saipat and Shrill Voice is back now. So Shrill Voice, we could use Shrill Voice here, but if we did, because we've not got enough stamina to use that safely, if we used it, we would take 2i out, and you can see that if you look at 2i's stamina and health bar, both are flashing, and basically that's just going to mean we use that, 2i's dead. So pretty much anything that we use here is going to damage 2i. So I reckon we take 2i out for, let's put Swirly back in, I think. I know obviously he's got no attacks, but we need to get him leveled up anyway. Oof. That's Crystal gone. Let's get let's get one of the Paros in, I think. And now obviously they're the same type as Pick-a-Pick, but what I'm hoping is that if he uses wind attacks against Paro, that it won't do that much damage. Yeah. So the tenderness is going to reduce his defense. Oh, his attack. We'll do that again, I think. See, so that Bamboozle, because it's a move that requires a lot of stamina, it took Pick-a-Pick out, so we didn't even need to do anything. So we've got 2 more trainers to beat there, but obviously we've lost Crystal. I would like to try and get him back if we can. So I am going to head back to home, even though we're so close to the end there. I just want to be absolutely sure that we don't waste any heals or anything like that. In fact, what I might do is just cut this part, and we'll see you in a moment after I've healed up, and we'll be right back to where we left off. Okay guys, we are back. We've got our Temtems healed up, and we're ready for these guys here. We're going to battle, and you can just see to the north there, we've got the mini Temtem healing center, and the area that we can buy things, and also the area we can swap and change out our Temtems. So let's get into the battle here. Okay, so we are fighting Paro and Kalazu. So Paro we know is a wind type, and Kalazu is a water type. Again, we don't have any Temtems specifically great at these, so we're just going to go with our normal ones for now. Oof. So 2i will be able to take Paro out with his shrill voice, so let's damage Kalazu there. Ooh, poor 2i. Nice. So yeah, so if you happen to, like I was explaining before, the XP is a total amount that is shared amongst the Temtems that take part in those battles. So obviously Crystal and 2i were the only two that we used. We took out 2 of their Temtems, and Crystal then basically benefited from 2i not being in the battle. So extra XP for Crystal there. Okay, so onto the mini Temtem Center. So if you go to this one here on the left, this is going to be the console which will heal and revive your Temtems. So if you press F on that, you'll see a cool little animation, and all the Temtems will then be healed and revived. Okay, the one in the middle is basically your Temtem box. So all the Temtems that you've caught outside your initial 6 slots will be stored in box 1. Now what I like to do with this is store all the captured Temtems in box 1, which is where they go by default. Then as you find Temtems that you'd like to keep and train up more, move them just over like that into the box that you want to keep them in. So we know, for example, we want to bring Kaku into the squad. We are going to check out the stats of these 2 Paros, and one of them we will move into box 1. Okay, so we'll click on Paro, we'll go to details, and if you see at the bottom here, we've got previous Temtem and next Temtem. So we can now use those buttons to check between the different types. Okay, so this is where we'll go through and explain these stats and what they do as well. Okay, so you've got your base stats, okay, here. So as you level up, these base stats will increase, okay. By how much will depend on the TVs. So the TVs are the training values. So as a Temtem battles, it will gain a certain amount of XP, depending on how it's done in the battle. Now you see this one has got 1 point of training of stamina in the training TV, and 1 point in the special defense. So when that hits a certain value, the special defense and stamina are going to level up, okay, to a higher number. The single values are never going to change. They are the stat that basically defines how good a Temtem is, really, and when it levels up, how much it's going to level up by. Yeah, basically that, really. So what we want to try and get with these Temtems is ideally as high stats as possible in all of these stats, but obviously if we get some that are max in 3 or 4 of them, I think, then that would be a Luma Temtem anyway. So we'd already know that that's a very good one just by looking at it. Okay, so HP, very self-explanatory. They are your hit points, how many points of health the Temtem has, how much damage it can take. Stamina, how many moves it can make. Certain moves, as we've seen, require more stamina to use than others. Speed is basically the stat that will determine whether you get to go first or not. So if you've got a very high speed or a higher speed than another type of Temtem, that you potentially will go before them and get your attack in first. Really useful, especially if your Temtem is capable of one-shotting the other. So you can get your attack in straight away. They won't then have a chance to damage you. So attack. Okay, so attack and special attack. I'll discuss these both at the same time. So if we look at the abilities, you'll see there obviously Peck is a normal attack type, and it's got a star next to it. And the star basically means that it's a special attack ability or a special ability. So it's going to use the special attack stat. So yes, it does 24 damage, but it's also going to look at the special attack stat of 11, okay, and basically determine how powerful that 24 damage is going to be. The stare attack, well, it's not an attack, it's a debuff, but you'll notice that that has kind of like a swirly line, looks a little bit like a 6. So that's indicating that it's a normal type. So that would use the normal attack stat of 11 again here. So just bear that in mind. So if it's got a little swirly icon, it means it's either a normal attack or a normal defensive type. If it's going to be a like a star, it's going to be a special attack or a special defensive type. So by that, you can then, as you level up, if you find certain Temtems have a higher special attack than others, and most of the attacks that you like to use for that Temtem are special attacks, you know that that is going to be probably better than the other one. Another thing that is in this game is traits. So you see this one has a trait called Friendship. So it's immune to allies' offensive techniques. So that could be a technique where it affects the whole play field. That might come in useful. So let's have a look at the other Paro. Right, so that also has the Friendship trait, same level of abilities, same level, but you notice how this one has a higher HP. Now, you can sort of tell a little bit because the SV of this one, 41 against 15, it's much higher. The stamina of this one is 11 against 3, 14 against 11, 3 against 36. But again, we're going to be using Peck a lot, which is a special attack. So it's not going to matter that much that this Paro has got a low attack, because most of his time that we'll be attacking with him will be a special attack. Now, the 10 is not great against 23. What to do? See, that's got 36 there. You know what? For now, I think we'll go with this guy. I think he's got just that little bit extra. So we'll move him out. Just make sure we've moved the right one out. Yeah, we've moved the right one out. Okay. So I think that's a good place to leave it for today. We've got our squad. We've talked about the stats a little bit. Yeah, so I think we'll leave it there, and in the next episode we will continue on with the story a little bit and see what else there is that we can show you. Okay, well, thanks for watching, guys. This has been a Hand of Unity Let's Play series of Temtem. I'm your host, Bobby, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.